Look, get your hands in the
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly has definitely tried to mark his territory as a rock star at this point. From the sounds of albums like Tickets to My Downfall, our boy has been looking to completely reinvent himself as a rock musician and remove every single part of rap music from his body. When he feels like taking shots though, it looks like the masses are willing to let him have it. When Kelly showed up to perform at the very latest show at the Louder Than Life Rock Festival, he was greeted with boos. This wasn't just a little bit of hate thrown his way for some people at the festival. From the looks of it, there was practically a 50-50 split of people willing to throw him under the bus instead of hearing his music. It might just be because of his music, but it could also be that, the Maggot Army has finally caught up to him. Kelly was already in some hot water after taking a few shots at Slipknot for calling them irrelevant and having to wear masks to perform even though they're over 50 years old.
Being 50 years old, wearing a weird mask on a stage, talking shit.
Though most of that dated back to some internal drama that went on between Kelly and singer Corey Taylor, it looks like the fans are already ready to tear him to shreds. You also have to keep in mind that this is one of Kelly's first major rock festival appearances since the Little Dust Up, so you knew there was going to be some backlash. Hell, when you look back on what Corey Taylor said about the dust up between him and Kelly, he was already making a point that he doesn't like people airing private shit like a child. If this is what you call Kelly acting like a child though, it seems like that was only the beginning of the mayhem. Once the concert eventually got going, Machine Gun was not too happy that people weren't vibing to his songs, so he decided to kick things up a notch by going into the crowd. As he was doing the traditional rock star move of heading towards the crowd, one particular fan made it past the barricade and decided to throw a few swings at him. Kelly didn't seem to back down from the fight though, even appearing to land a couple of blows himself before security managed to drag him off. Just take a look at some of the comments on Twitter for this past show. You have people repping from the town of Louisville taking this clown to task for what he did. When he originally made those comments about Slipknot, he was at the Riot Festival in Chi-Town, which is known for their hip-hop crowds. When you show up with that same kind of attitude in the middle of the heartland, you're gonna be served something like you ain't never believed. Compared to what you see around the world, these are the crowds that live off of rock music and are gonna have zero patience and tolerance for people tearing him through the mud. But you don't have to just take our word for it, RIZZLE Squad. The entire internet seemed to be coming for Kelly's throat on this one. One minute you'll have people repping for their hometown for booing for someone like this off the stage, and the next you got people clowning on how the hell the man even has the balls to show his face at a festival like this. After all, this is a metal festival, so what was MGK expecting after trash talking one of the biggest metal bands in the world? Granted, it's not like MGK doesn't have the fan base to back himself. All we saying is that 17 million monthly listeners on Spotify for MGK are still adding up compared to the 8 million monthly listeners that Slipknot has managed to get on the daily. Then again, you have to wonder how many people are coming to MGK for his old rap career and who are actually listening to the new stuff he has coming down the pipeline. Hell, you've even got people feeling bad for the other band members that Kelly has with him. Since they only see this dude as a poser, it's almost funny to see them stick up for his crew a lot more than they'd actually stick up for the main guy in the crowd. Granted, if you were a super drummer like Travis Barker has been for the past 20 years, you probably deserve a lot better than the boos that you got over this. The most savage comment, though, has to be coming from the metalheads who decided to bring up MGK's rap career still. Even though he's tried to separate this as a whole new project for himself, fans still can't help but be reminded of the last time that MGK tried to call out a classic artist with Eminem. On the strength of the song Kill Shot alone, Slim managed to absolutely destroy any chance of Kelly ever matching up to him again, with many people considering it one of M's best tracks he's released in years. You ever notice how MGK started work on this kind of album directly after the dust up with Slim? Yeah, it seems like Twitter has taken that all out of context as well, saying that M basically tore him up so bad that he's trying on rock music just to save face. Since he's now being taken to task by one of the biggest metal bands in the world, there's nowhere that our boy can really go past this. Does he just think that he'll switch genres again? Trust me, there ain't nobody looking to hear Machine Gun Kelly's R&B album anytime soon. Out of all the hate that was thrown his way, was it really all that bad at the end of the day for Kelly? If you had to ask the rest of Twitter, the answer would probably be no, since there are a lot of fans willing to support him going on while being pelted with hate. There are even a few reports from people at the concert saying that everyone has been over-exaggerating the boos of everyone, saying that 20,000 fans were singing along, every word, only about 20 actual haters who were actually showing up. Since that was posted by Kelly himself, you have to question how true that was actually though.
No slave. Up all week, wasting time with people that don't like.
Granted, it's also a little bit funny to see people turning everything around back on Corey Taylor for what they see as him starting the whole dust up. The logic behind that seems to be that since Corey actually said that he didn't want to do a feature on MGK's album, he was the one who had to start beef. Compared to what we see out of the rap community, that's a little bit low just to get to the point where someone says he started it as their argument. Still, MGK fans are here to defend what he did, saying that he still put on a badass show regardless of what people thought of him. There's still a lot of people who are still giving him credit for even standing up for what he believed in. It's not like they're necessarily wrong either. I mean, considering how many people want him to be 86 out of the music industry altogether, it takes guts to talk trash to one of the biggest metal bands in the world, and then actually show up to play at a metal festival. And if you're trying to make yourself into a punk rock character, it's not the worst idea to actually stir up a bit of controversy every now and again. Now, no matter how much people may want to throw stones at Kelly's way, you can't say that he isn't getting attention from the other side as well. Out of all the defenders, one user said it best by saying, "I give MGK one thing, dude not f***ed up to call out, talk trash, or whatever to anyone. Don't matter how well known they are or not. Dude speak his mind and don't give any f***s." So, the big question here is, who really came out on top in this fight? Well, if you're judging from this concert, it's clear that Slipknot maggots have clearly wiped the floor with MGK in one show alone. Then again, you still have some people who are just more than willing to stick their neck out for the guy, even if he decides to take a few cheap shots. Hell, there are even some people arguing that he would have done even better just sticking with his hip-hop mode, but that's probably out of the question at this point. I mean, when you're dragged through the mud by both Eminem and Slipknot, you're not necessarily going to be featured on the next Logic album or anything, will you? Here's hoping that MGK manages to see this whole thing as a learning experience. Outside of the major buzz he's been getting for the past few shows, he's at least kept himself in the public eye long enough that people are itching to see what he's got coming down the pipeline. Instead of acting like one of the biggest rock stars in the world or calling out people for not being as real as he is, this might be the time that Kelly decides to, hunker down and actually prove his chops as a major player in the rock game. And for good measure, it might be best to steer clear of the metal festivals for the time being. You can still try it, but don't be surprised if you find more metalheads that are looking to eat you alive for what you said. That's all the facts we got at the moment, though. What do you guys think about Machine Gun Kelly's latest festival appearance? Do you think he was justified in sticking up for his music, or was he just looking to call some shots and fighting for attention? Be sure to leave a comment down below and let us know. Also, where do you think MGK is going from here? Is he going to give us some more rock music? Or is he gonna make a grand return to the world of hip-hop? Whatever he does and whenever he does it, be sure to keep it tuned right here at RIZZLE so you don't miss out on when the next piece of drama comes down the pipeline. Until then, RIZZLE Squad, rest easy, take care, and keep it RIZZLE.